Hello, Venus. How do you do?
Good, thanks. And yourself?
I am well.
Good.
I'm guessing you are finishing a day here.
I am.
How did it go today?
I was really slow today, honestly.
Was it slow?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was one of days like today, Father's Day, Mother's Day. It's always kind of a 50-50 shot. It's either going to be really busy or really slow. And today was really slow.
Okay. And you've been here obviously long enough to be able to contrast previous years, eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Last year being the exception, but yeah.
What was the, because
we had just reopened around this time last year, so everything was just kind of weird. Holidays didn't mean anything.
Yeah. Seeing the patios full now, I'm also reminding myself it's just not outside anymore, it's also inside as well, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like before, it's just the patios only, right?
Yeah.
My goodness, this is quite the lineup here for it.
I must be doing Father's Day dinners.
Ah, that's right. I keep forgetting. Interesting how some of these traditions evolve, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wonder if they're different for Father's Day contrasted with Mother's Day. I wouldn't know.
There's probably definitely a little bit of variance, I would think. It would be interesting to kind of see, like, from restaurants, if there's more bookings on Father's Day versus Mother's Day sort of deal.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be interesting.
Indeed.
How's the rest of your day been?
It's been steady.
Yeah?
Not busy, but steady.
That's good.
Which is still better than, like, slow.
Yeah.
So I'm super thankful that people are out and about again.
Good.
I mean, it's definitely affected our line of work too. It's just encouraging when you're like going out to work and you can actually find work, you know,
Yes.
as opposed to like looking and.
Yeah, I've heard from a few people that they'll just kind of drive around for a few hours before they're like, you know what, there's nobody today, I'm going home. But,
Yeah, I've definitely felt that way sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've done this for a couple of years now. I have understood quite a few elements about the job. The one thing I'm not sure if I know yet is if it's more advantageous to drive around or to stay in one spot. It's really a toss-up, you know?
Right. Probably if you like hang out around the malls or the airports and stuff, you get fairly consistent calls on that one.
Now with the airport, the interesting dynamic there is that it is like you're put into a queue.
Oh.
Yeah, so the airport and the Stampede grounds have a queue. So when you enter that zone, you're sort of put in a lineup with others who are already there.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. So that you're not all just like rushing to hit yes on it sort of deal.
And from my understanding, I think it only offers it to one person at a time. It gives them a little timer to respond to it, so you don't have to like do a mad dash of, I got that, you know? It does it to one, and then if they don't, if they ignore it, then it'll go to the next one.
That makes sense.
That's how I understand that, yeah. But then they also have some perks where if you have like a really good rating, then, for example, like I can just go to the airport if I'm dropping someone off.
Yeah.
And if I'm dropping someone off, I don't have to go into the queue. It'll just bump me to the top of the line, and then send me off with another rider if there's one there.
So that you at least have a reason to drive away again.
Exactly, exactly, and it saves you the waiting time as well.
Yeah.
So that's a nice perk
No, absolutely.
that I do appreciate too.
Smart system to have it set up like that.
It's incentives, right?
Yeah.
To try and to have good service, really. Because it's the thing I like about the job is that they don't tell you have to say this, you have to do this. You can kind of control your own element of environment that you want to curate.
Yeah.
And I love that. And so I think it works really well because people can kind of show their characteristics or their nature or their personality in the way that they choose to do some things or not, you know?
Yeah.
So I really enjoy that aspect too.
Being your own boss is probably a nice perk.
Say again? Oh my goodness.
Being your own boss?
Absolutely. Yes, it is. If I have to go back and take a job where I'm on a schedule,
Yeah.
I mean, I won't chafe literally, but it'll be like, man, this is like a different thing to get used to all over again.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, even just from having the, 2.5 months off when everything was shut down, going back to work, it probably took about a solid month to get used to actually waking up at a certain time, going somewhere. Yeah, it's an adjustment. Absolutely.
How long have you been working at this mall here for?
This mall has been 2.5 years now, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I don't go to malls very often, but I often think when I am in malls how I might enjoy the job, if only for the people watching, because there's so many people that congregate.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
People watching is the best at the malls.
So,
It really is. I mean, you overhear little snippets of conversations too that are just hilarious. Like at one point I heard somebody being like, butter for a baby, that's a fair trade, and that was all I heard out of everything. I'm like, I need to know more. I need to know more. Right? Like it was just the randomest things you hear and see in the mall.
Context, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And I mean, there's absolutely some characters in the mall that you don't necessarily want in there.
Oh, I see.
It happens.
Okay.
Yeah. There's definitely a few loud ones that you can kind of hear coming down the hall before they even show up at the stores. It's just like, oh no, okay, everybody get ready, they're coming.
Oh, so these are like perhaps regular presences.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, interesting. And is it just that they're there to cause trouble usually, or is it a legitimate sort of a...
Some of it is just they themselves are not fully there, for lack of a better term, so they're a little bit more difficult to deal with. There are some that are just rude.
Oh, okay.
There are some that are just very colorful characters. I have a few, because I work at Sunrise Records, so we do music and movies and stuff like that, so we get a fair spectrum of customers and everything, but I have a few that come in and are just very, very colorful. I have one gentleman who comes in always looking for like wrestling DVDs, and he will always look for anything that has cute young girls on it because he's a dirty old man, and I'm just like, I don't know how to respond to this, but sure. Yeah, he's harmless, he's nice enough, but he likes to make the dirty old man joke a lot.
I see. I see.
You kind of, I've been doing retail for 15 years, so you kind of just build up a resistance to it.
Yeah. Huh. Okay, so if I were to ask you, say the top 3 observations you've noticed about humanity from your observations over time with people in the mall, what would you say they are from your vantage point?
Nobody reads signs. That's the biggest one that stands out the most, especially right now, because the mall has directional signage everywhere. This doesn't work, so use this one instead, and nobody reads any of it. Signs for sales, nobody reads any of it.
Okay.
That there are a lot more kind people out there than there are jerks.
Oh, interesting observation.
But the jerks like to make sure that you know that they're a jerk, essentially. Right?
So
like,
they try to make a bigger impact.
Yeah, exactly. Is that there's way more good customers than there are bad customers, but those bad customers will like erase the good customers for 3 days because they're just that heavy of a situation.
I see.
And the third one, I honestly, I don't know, that everybody's surprising. Especially because, again, selling music and movies, I'll be like, okay, this person looks like they're going to be coming in here for metal music, and they're actually there for classical, right? Like, never assume anything about anyone is kind of what retail is a good teacher for as well.
Yeah. That's fascinating.
I'm sure with a job like this, you see all sorts of characters.
Okay, so I see, like, a whole variety.
Yeah.
But I know, like, when I get asked a lot, it's along the lines of, what are the craziest stories you have of people? I don't have very many.
Yeah, that's good.
I only have I only remember 2 Venus for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
And that's in over like 7,800 rides.
That's pretty good.
That's a huge difference in odds there, right?
Right.
I know a lot of my fellow Uber drivers have a lot more that they would probably struggle with. Probably just because of my awareness or I guess I understand people really well, so I know how to sort of communicate, and the expectations that I set, the way I communicate, the way I implement my boundaries, probably has something to do with it. But no, I would say my job is pretty swell because it's like I get to go and have great conversations, and it's not always great conversations because there's also people who definitely give cues
Speed
that
and red light
they
camera
want a
in
quiet
300
ride or no
meters.
conversation, you know.
Speed
So
limit is
it's all
50
about
kilometers per
knowing how to
hour.
read those
Oh,
for a while.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Well, that's good though. That's a pretty good average. Only 2 not so great out of
I
78. That's pretty
know.
good. See,
I
that's
know.
there's more good than there is bad. It's just the
I
bad
would
stick out
agree.
more.
So I would agree with that, and yet one of my observations is how often people are generally discouraged by what they encounter or experience, especially by way of discouragement or yeah, just not seeing the good side, I guess, is a real challenge for a lot of people. So so maybe they just, here's the thing, I sometimes get a chance to drive, for example, law enforcement, right, or lawyers or healthcare workers, you know, people who see a lot more concentration of the challenging aspects of society.
Yeah.
In the midst of talking with them, one of the things I try to understand from their perspective is how optimistic they are about humanity in general. So seeing what they see in the greater concentration that they do,
Yeah.
theirs is usually a little bit more tempered, right? It's a more
Yeah, I'd believe that.
yeah, and so I wonder if that doesn't play a factor in how society collects itself. Usually people go to the mall to buy, right? So they can economically at least sustain
Yeah.
the reason that they're